If you run a company or manage a team, hiring qualified people quickly can make or break your business. Imagine a position of need going unfilled for weeks or even months because you just can't seem to find the right candidate. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. With sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach the people you want faster. This makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Plus, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts. You only pay for results on your job post. Just in the last minute that I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. Now that is fast. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. Listeners will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/BWN. Go to Indeed.com/BWN right now to support this podcast. Indeed.com/BWN. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello, Mavs fans. Welcome back. This is Mavs Party, and I actually need to rebrand this show correctly up on the YouTube stream. That's what I get when my mouse dies, and I don't have enough going on here. Welcome back. Josh and I just ended our post-game show after dark. If you are listening on a audio stream the next day on Thursday, just know that you can join Mavs Party or group therapy when I have them. I'm going to try to have them more and more as the season goes on because I like doing them. You can join the show live if you're on YouTube with us here. All you really need to do is click the StreamYard link, which is in the comments. It is pinned. StreamYard is an easy-to-use application where you can join from your phone. You can join from your computer, and we can talk a little basketball and just, kind of go over what happened or anything in the last several games because I forgot to – it's not even forget to do one after the Wizards game, but I was on the edge of sickness. I didn't know that. I woke up yesterday with the flu, and today I finally feel like a human being, so we're doing one of these again. Again, the Mavericks won 137-136. Let's talk a little basketball. I got Ben waiting to come up. Anybody else, feel free to click in, and we will talk shop. Ben, how you doing, buddy? Long time.
Yeah, it's been a little while. Can you hear me?
I can. You sound great.
Awesome. Yeah, man. I didn't have anything very specific. I don't know that I necessarily want to get off. Just kind of want to spread optimism about the team. I think a week or so ago there was just a lot of worry warts. A lot of people, getting. And it's not like we all didn't feel that way. Nervous about the outcome of the season. All these injuries. And then you look at the standings. Right now, what are we, 2 games out of 5th? Maybe not even.
The West is such a clump because coming into this game, we were 9th. So let's go look at the standings as of right now. Because Golden State and there's still a couple of games that are going on because it's almost 10:30 at night. But the Mavericks, after this, they have bumped themselves up to 8th. But the Lakers, they have the same number of wins as the Lakers. The Lakers have played 3 fewer games. It's like we're in this kind of clump where at a certain point, guys, like the game math has to add up. So it's, a 2-game slide by one of those teams are going to put the Mavericks back in a different position.
Exactly. We're playing at a disadvantage with all these guys out. The skeleton crew is learning how to beat teams. Obviously we still, some games you're just not going to win. It's hard to play 4 full quarters and not have all your guys,
Sure, particularly the guys who are supposed to be the closers. And you want Kyrie to be the closer, and I get it. If you're a Mavs fan, you're saying he's supposed to be the superstar that shares the load, but I just sort of exist in this perpetual state of like, don't die, Kyrie. We need you.
Yeah, and I just feel like we're a couple dribbles and a couple bounces or makes or fouls or whatever in the last 2 weeks. We could have had 2 or 3 of those games, So the play to me is there. I've been satisfied with how the guys are playing. Obviously, people getting sick and stuff. What are you going to do? And even like, I don't know, people are talking about like Lively and him being like fragile or something. I think not fragile, but like, it gets hurt, but really I feel like last year, most of the time he missed was like him getting that broken nose and like stuff that wasn't really like freak injury stuff.
We're talking Lively?
Yeah. Lively. Like it was more like, I don't know, to me, like this is his first real injury issues. Like I don't consider last year that bad because it was dudes elbowing him in the nose. It wasn't like he did something to, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like
It's funny because his Duke brethren Kyrie, I think you could argue has sort of similar injury history where Kyrie had a weird foot injury in college where he only played like a single game. The Giannis stepping on his foot, when he was with the Nets was a really weird injury. He's just had some goofy stuff, meaning Kyrie happening injury wise. And so it sort of depends on your point of view with this, because it's like there is a difference between a guy who can't stay healthy versus a guy who has bad luck. But right. I don't know. The bottom line is you want guys to be able to, like, the Mavericks need to know that from their tertiary non-league guys that they're getting 60 plus, 70 plus games. Like that's kind of the overarching goal.
Yeah. And of course you want that from a young guy, and you want him to earn his money and all that. Because he should be getting super paid eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what else. Sorry, I'm outside. It's loud out here.
Not too bad considering, but thank you for being there.
Well, a truck drove by with some crazy exhaust on it. I couldn't really I was trying to cover it up. I wasn't doing a great job. But I've honestly enjoyed watching the team play these last couple weeks and just see individual guys. I mean, you called out Grimes. He's just really good. He's everything we wished Josh Green would have been, obviously. Yeah. And he's even got that cool mustache that Josh Green has. He just looks to me like Josh Green's dad, but he's like the same age. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, I'm Josh Green's dad. That right. you wished it was like Josh Green with a disguise on. He's just better.
I like the take. It's ridiculous, but I'm here for it.
It is silly. I'm being silly, but Najee Marshall back. He played okay. He had just hadn't been the same since that stretch where he was playing amazing.
I mean, when he got suspended, things really went sideways because he was. I mean, he has like his game log is weird to look at, where he has just such a great 15 game stretch, and then the bad stuff happens. It's like, oh no, this.
I think he's the player that kid almost has the most to figure out because he can play it.
Yes.
He enables so many different lineups. And then when all your guys are hurt, it's hard to figure all that out. So I just feel like I'm not worried about Najee at all. I think he's going to be lights out in the playoffs because kid's going to know right where to put him.
I like how you are very optimistic about the fact that the Mavericks are making the playoffs. This is good.
Oh, we're 2 games out of 5th right now. Who is it? The Kings, the Suns, the Lakers. I mean, are those teams going to be? I don't know, man. I think we're as tough as those teams, and we're getting our guys back. Luka in the next week or 2, or what?
So then, Mark Stein is doing the wonderful marketing ploy of, and he's been doing this for 3 weeks, I feel like, where he's like, he's going to come back for All-Star game. Well, it's like, well, that's 20 games. And now we're 10 games past that point, and it's like, there's still 8 games left, things like that. So I bet if I don't really see a good game for him to come back. Is sort of my takeaway because they played the Celtics. Like they're not going to bring him back on a road trip. Because he's not with the team right now. I don't think. Let me just look here. Maybe like Golden State right before there's a Sacramento, Golden State, Miami stretch. They don't want to bring him back against Houston. That's just not fair. But the final 4 games before All-Star are Houston, Sacramento, Golden State, Miami. Maybe Sacramento or Golden State. That would kind of be my guess if that's really what they want to do.
Yeah.
So
well, I'll be excited for it. I mean, I just feel like we're gonna be mostly together by the end of the year in terms of health. And I just like our guys. I don't know.
Good. Hey, man. Well, good to hear from you. I hope you come back, okay?
For sure, man. Go,
All right,
Mavs.
talk soon. Okay. My man Leo is coming up next, but I saw a question from somebody in the chat that I want to answer real quick. It was So Joe Mama says, so Gafford playing like trash earlier in the season because he wasn't starting, ? Was he pouting? I don't love that attitude from him. So in the recap show, Josh Bowe and I talked about this. I think it's kind of a mix of everything. I don't think he was really in the right shape because he really didn't play that well when he started earlier in the year. I think he must have just had a come to Jesus meeting with himself because he started playing better. And that's all, it's good. The Mavericks needed it. All right, my man Leo's coming up. Then I got Brian and everyone's favorite man, Mr. Green. Leo, what's up, buddy? Unmute yourself. Leo thinks he's not able to take himself off mute, but he does have a question. That's okay. He says, I was going to ask if PJ at the 5 with Omax and your guy at power forward, do you think that can be a look where we have where we can learn some stuff? They're going to keep throwing out that small lineup until they get crushed by it. I mean, I think do they play Boston next? Who do the Mavericks play next year? No, they play Detroit, Cleveland, Philadelphia, Boston. They'll probably see the small ball lineup against Detroit for sure. They won't dare against Cleveland. And they probably will against Philadelphia too. And same, they will leave it off from Boston. So that's an interesting one. Brian, what's up, man? Welcome.
Hey, can I be heard?
Yeah, you sound good. It's easy on the phone, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Plus, I got my earbuds in, so it works a little bit better that way.
Yeah, well, you don't got to go to like a setup. I'm encouraging people. You can do this from the phone. I promise.
Yeah. I used to only call in on my phone, so
right, because we had the cool app where it was only on the phone. The whatever it's called, the green room. Yep. So what's going on?
To improve on Ben's take, and I hate to do this to Josh, but I feel like Grimes is kind of the Stephon Urkel to Josh's Steve Urkel. I feel like there's a bit of that going on. It just kind of fits. It kind of works. It's unfortunate for Josh, but it is what it is.
That's really something. So it's the bibs to the Optimus bibs.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
That's a deep internet cut for people that don't spend too much time on Twitter.
Hey man, catch up with the Mavs outsiders if you ain't got nothing better to do. I don't know, dude. It's weird to be talking about this team winning consecutive games, right? In this January that we thought was going to be hell. Like they're a game and a half out of the 5 spot, let alone 6. And I think all the teams above them are like sweet. Like maybe so my only concern is if Phoenix finds a way really to get their hands on Jimmy. But I think the part that nobody's really saying out loud about all this, no one is taking that Beal deal. Even with a first round pick, nobody wants that dude. Nobody wants his contract, and he isn't like a great fit alongside his contract anywhere in the league right now.
And he's in his feelings. And I don't mean to be an asshole. I do mean to be an asshole. You get paid $50 million a year. This is the second stop where he and his wife have bitched about the fans, and I'm just like,
you saw that, right?
Like, I don't want to condone humans being horrible to other humans, But at a certain point, this is a walking into Don Draper's office and complaining about your credit and him screaming, "That's what the money is for." Like the byproduct, and so it's just Beal's. I don't think Beal wants to uproot his family. He can't. He's not waiving that no trade clause. That's why I sort of mentioned that. So it's like the Phoenix is stuck. So I think the Mavericks have they're kind of like a fantasy football team limping into the playoffs, where if they can get right at the right time, nobody is going to want to play them.
Yeah, it's funny. I tweeted earlier, I can just smell us limping into that fifth seed after everything that happened all season long, limping into that fifth seed in a first round matchup with Denver. And I'm just, if we weren't like almost certain that Lively isn't going to be back by the first round, I would so welcome a first round Denver matchup. I want that so badly, but I would rather save that for a later round, knowing that Lively probably won't make it back until like the second round or so.
I also don't want to go through that sort of stress.
I'm sorry. I'm kind of here for it. I can't wait. Oh yeah. Denver fans talk way too much. Too much.
I mean, let's just be cruel for a minute. I don't want to play the Oklahoma City Thunder early, though. They're teenage fans. It'd be fun to break their hearts. The Rockets are legitimately good, and they scare me for reasons that should be obvious to everyone. I would love for the Mavericks to face off against the Grizzlies because Luka does not lose to them when he plays. It's just like it's a thing. The numbers when Luka plays versus when he doesn't against the Grizzlies. Something else. The Denver Nuggets would be an incredible basketball series, but I have a great deal of healthy fear for Jokic, and the man is just he's just that good. We're sitting here bitching, he can't win MVP. They're in the 6th seed? Well, guys, they're 3 games out of the 3rd seed.
Yeah, excuse me. I don't know if he's gonna win MVP because Shea has been really good and that team is awesome. He's clearly and then a minor half step, maybe like a third step even right below him is Giannis. They have clearly been the best players in the league so far this year. I got all the respect in the world for Jokic. It's Jamal Murray I don't respect. He had that big game against our G team and that was cool or whatever. But he's gonna have to show up and do that in the playoffs.
And Aaron Gordon is just he's the ideal size strength combo to guard Luka. It's just it's just a lot. That's the main reasons. So
yeah, it will be tough. It will be really, really fun. I want Memphis though.
We're talking this shit from the 8th seed.
Look, and I'm gonna keep talking it because guess what? Memphis still can't score in the half court, and that ain't gonna change from now until April. I know that.
Well, what else you got for us?
Man, I'm just excited we're getting some wins. At this point, I take all wins. I don't complain about none. Daniel Gafford's playing great. Like you said, I don't know if he's gonna be here all the way through the end of this current contract he's on, but right now he's here and he's doing the team a great service. PJ Washington has been awesome. Once he got over the knee sprain, took him a week really to shake that off, and after that he's been pretty good. Kyrie has been a soldier through it all. So much respect to him because
his 3-point shot's going to come back in a fierce way at some point.
Oh yeah,
and we're going to be laughing. He's going to have a 35-point game on something like 8 of 12 shooting because he's just going to hit 8 threes.
Yeah, when that transition 3 comes back, it's going to change a lot. Even Clay's shot coming back in the last 2 games, that's been huge for us. Super huge.
So have you looked? So the Mavericks are on this road trip, right? This is a primarily an East Coast road trip. Do you know that up until February 10th, so today's the 29th, we got 2 more days left in January. The next 12 days, the Mavericks don't play a game that starts later than 6:30 p.m.
Oh.
I was just noticing. Nice. I just noticed they played Detroit Friday at 6:00. Okay. Cleveland's Sunday at 2:30. The Sixers Tuesday at 6 p.m. And then Boston on Thursday at 6:30 on TNT. And then they play the Rockets Saturday, February 8th, at home at 2 p.m. This is great.
No late games. God bless.
No late games, which mean I get to go to do you know how much I'm just a much more pleasant person when I get to sleep. Shout out to what's my man Henry? Because my man he last season he told me to take magnesium when I was like having a visible eye twitch during the show, and that's like changed my life. So like these early games, I get to go to bed. That's how old I am. Anyway, sorry I cut you off. What's going on? What were you? Do you remember what you were gonna say?
Not shout out to Clay finding the shot. Omac's still doing things. That's cool. Kessler Edwards also doing things. That's cool. Just being tall and in the way. That's really cool. I like that. That's all I got.
All right, man. Well, thanks for hanging out.
All right, brother. Thanks for having me.
All right. Last but not least, Mr. Green. Happy Thursday where you are. How's it going?
Thanks, mate. Do you want tomorrow's winning lotto numbers?
Yes. I like these calls from the future. They please me.
I thought you might.
Good to see you. It's been a while. What's going on?
Mate, we're just suffering through the fucking worst heat wave ever. I had to have a look at, because you guys talk, you will do anything to avoid the metric system. So we're floating around about 107 degree average for the last 3 weeks. And flies have become a bit of an issue, mate. Keeping them little bastards out of the house, that's a pain in the ass. So it's me and the dogs on the couch in the aircon. And really for the last 3 weeks, watching the Mavs lose most of the games that they play, which hasn't been fantastic.
Just variations of hell.
Yeah, tell me about it, man. But look, I haven't been. I told you before, Kirk, I'm a bad loser, so I don't listen to your shows when we lose. In fact, I don't want to consume any further media after a loss.
You are not alone.
No, I would say that you and Josh see that in the stats very regularly. But I don't understand the general negativity around Gafford. Seems to have been going on for months. He was brought in to be a backup center to possibly the future center of the franchise if he turned out. I think that he can dominate against second tier centers on the opposition. But man, he's been kicking ass. So is it mainly because people are sort of thinking what we have as, trade assets that they've been talking about that Gafford could be moved? I think the fucking franchise would need to be taken out the back and shot if they decided to move off Gafford.
A lot of the grumpiness was occurring before Lively broke his foot or whatever the hell's wrong with him, since we seem to have conflicting reports. And he wasn't playing very well. And against Denver, the Mavericks lost those 2 back-to-back games at Denver. And do you remember DeAndre Jordan had a couple of dunks like on him?
Yeah.
And Josh pointed this out last show where he just said, I essentially feel like that was the low point for him. And since then, and that was roughly 2 weeks ago, several games at this point, probably at least 8 games, he's been really good. He was really good in the Pelicans game that the Mavericks lost because of the bad goaltending call. And that sort of got lost in the shuffle of the goaltending call. I mean, I've not looked at his numbers, but, he's been impressive. His defense has been sharper at the right points. And, with the Mavericks not having any size left because Maxi Kleber somehow broke his foot, which does anyone know how the hell that happened? Whatever. They need, he is vital. And while I do sort of expect the Mavericks will have to figure out what to do with him because he's up for a new contract at the end of the 2026-27 season. So the season after this one.
That's miles away, man. That's miles away.
But not now.
Look, I just don't understand the negativity in general. I mean, what are we doing? Are we clamoring for Dwight Powell to get center minutes again? We only just fucking dragged ourselves out of those doldrums. And now, like I said, man, I mean, there's 29 other teams that would take Gafford in a heartbeat. And we did give some of our future away to get him. And it was a brilliant move. I just don't understand the general negativity. He wasn't brought in as a player to average 20 and 10. My biggest fear when we got rid of KP is that it's near impossible to find a 20 and 10 player in this league. Almost impossible.
He's picked up the pace on the defensive rebounding where if you were to go look at his box scores that showed the offensive and defensive rebounding, there are games where he was playing 25 plus minutes and getting 4 rebounds. And it's like,
Yeah.
Luka's not here. We need you. We need, and he's picked up the pace.
Let's just put that in a bit of context, though, Kirk. If you're contesting a shot, it's unlikely you're going to get the rebound.
Sure.
All right. So he's not a good rebounder because he's a shot contester. That's kind of how I look at it, and it's really up to his foreman, like PJ, to get the boards, which is exactly what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I can't have a dig at Gafford too much. And look, I agree with you. A bloke of his size, a physical, dominant, inside presence centre who's only getting 4 rebounds, that's fine. But, gee, it'd be nice to have the stat of how many shots he contested. You know, within 6 inches of leaving the other player's hand. Like, I would say that if he was contesting 24 shots and getting 6 rebounds, I'm happy with that.
Well, the Mavericks have had a collective team issue where, and we all have seen this, where in some of these games where they've been crushed on the boards, not a single Maverick player puts a body on anyone. Yeah. And I think this is where the Luka of it all has caught up with them at moments, because Luka gets a lot of uncontested rebounds. Luka's also a big motherfucker, and they have to put a body on him on both ends. The other teams do. And, you know, he eats up enough space where other guys can chase down boards or where he's able to go get certain rebounds. And I think the team just kind of gets used to him doing this. And they've had to learn how to rebound as a team. There's a very strong correlation to PJ rebounding and the Mavericks winning, you know, because he's very good on the boards when he really puts his work in on it. I think there is something in the fact of what you're talking about Gafford cleaning up after him. I mean, the Mavericks team defense has also been, it's not like messy, because it's just, I don't expect Spencer Dinwiddie to play defense. They've needed to find ways to win, and they're now they've won 4 of their last 7, and that's good enough for me. Like, I was hoping at most to where the team would play, you know, just below 500 basketball without Luka. And instead what happened is they kind of got their butts kicked for about 2 weeks as they readjusted. And since then they figured out a little bit more and they look a little bit better. And that's kind of all I can ask for until Luka gets back.
Yeah, I mean, one of Luka's underestimated abilities is the size of his ass.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, you talk about getting a rebound, you talk about blocking out. When you got an ass that big, it's easy to bump off someone, to put him off and put him a half step away. And let's not forget, he's got like a huge wingspan. So arse out, hands out. You know, that happens like 4 or 5 times a game. And yeah, they do miss it. But again, the reason why Luka gets so many rebounds, when you have someone like Lively and Gafford challenging the shot, you know, they're not even looking at the ball. They're challenging the shot. It's up to the other guys to collect that miss, if it does actually miss. My only concern now is Grimes. Grimes is one of those players where it's a coin flip where you move off him now to get something that you can hold on to for a bit longer. Or is he going to be a guy who can really contribute deep on a run to the playoffs? So my only concern for the team is him. Omax has been doing shit. I didn't have that.
I'm pleased. Yeah.
And one of his most underestimated abilities is that guy gets a fingernail on every single ball if it's not a clean possession. And I've never seen anyone play for the Mavs like it.
I mean, Josh Green was pretty good at this stuff too, but at 4 inches shorter and nowhere near the wingspan. I mean, Omax is a huge person. I'm not sure if you happen to listen to the Step Back Mavs podcast with my friend Dalton, but he went to the game tonight as a fan and was sitting right next to the Mavs bench because New Orleans tickets are just unbelievably cheap. And he sent me a picture of Omax, and a lot of NBA players, and I'm sure you've seen this if you've gone to like various like NBDL game, or what's the
NBL?
NBL, like these professional basketball players are often very slight. Like they're muscular, but they're lean. And Omax is a big man. Like, he's broad. And so it's just like when he's doing that sort of stuff on the rebounding end, it's chaos. And it's good for the Mavericks that he's doing it.
Well, man, we need a guy of his archetype. You know, like one thing that we desperately need is like I said, that 6'8" to 6'10" beefy guy who can't be pushed off, that's got youth and got some juice in him, you know. And I've said this to you before. That's the secret most desirable asset in the league is that guy. And we've been in a position for so many years now that we didn't have the assets to trade to try and acquire those guys. And that's why PJ was such a steal, because trying to find them guys is difficult. You've got to draft them. And, you know, I've been on this show a few times and said that Omax, you know, that was a waste of a draft pick, but he's starting to prove me wrong. And mate, I couldn't think of anything better than being wrong about him, because he really does look like a three-legged deer running around there some days. But I've noticed a change in him last 4 or 5 games that he's played, and I do bring it back to how many minutes he's getting on the floor. You got to play these guys. You got to let them run around, and he's starting to get a bit more confident. So I'm happy to see that, and really nice to see Clay get a few shots in 2 games in a row. I think that'll stead quite well, and just got to wait for Luka to come back, man, and then we can have another crack at it. But very nice to see that what are we at the moment? 4 or 5 games over 500?
4 games, which is great.
I didn't think that would be the case. So, gee, it's a muddle in the middle of the Western Conference, though, isn't it? I mean, it could just go 15 different ways. So, yeah, man, just struggling in the heat, and glad to see a win. And it got, you know, it wasn't a 1-point game tonight, but it did get pretty ugly. And one thing that I have noticed lately is, gee, Clay does manage to fucking rack up some turnovers, doesn't he? He really does.
He loses his mind now and again, which is relatable.
Yeah, I can understand that, especially in 107-degree heat. Okay?
Hey, well, we'll talk soon. Have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, mate.
All right,
appreciate it.
All right. Coming up last, but certainly not least, my friend Karam. Karam, what's going on? Talk to me.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Long time no chat. What are you thinking tonight?
Yeah. Honestly, I was driving, so I didn't really see the game. I heard the last few minutes.
Go watch, if you can find a way, go watch the fourth quarter. Like, if you have League Pass and they have the replay, the fourth quarter is pretty fun.
I will. I actually came on to ask you 2 questions.
Sure thing.
We're what, 26 and 22 right now, right?
That's correct.
So, and Luka hasn't played what, 20 games, 22
He
games?
hasn't. He has missed 26 games.
What about Najee and Lively? Do you know?
Let me look here. I can probably find out pretty soon. Let's see it, just because total games. So they played 48. Najee Marshall has played 34. So he has missed 14 games. And Derek Lively
32.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm. So 32 minus. Yeah. Okay. So that's 16. He's missed 16 games so far. Yeah.
Okay. So, and we're 26 and 22, right?
That's right.
So what will it take for Jason Kidd to win Coach of the Year? Because, I mean, holy crap. The fact that we are 4 games above 500 with all of, 2 of our main guys missing extended periods of time. Kyrie has missed some time. Najee. Sure. I mean, what will it take for him to win Coach of the Year? I think he's deserving of it so far.
Well, considering half of us want to fire him half the time, I think that's a difficult road to hoe. You know, the narratives for the award is often such a big deal in terms of how these things get sussed out. So by the time, if the Mavericks make a run, if they do what they've done the last 2 times they made the playoffs, where they close the season over the last 20 games playing really, really good basketball, maybe, but I think you got the Kenny Atkinson in Cleveland, kind of having a say, and then the guy down in Houston. Why his name is missing my brain at the moment. The former Celtics coach.
Ime Udoka.
Ime Udoka, I think, is the other guy who is probably such a strong candidate. Because I thought the Rockets were going to be playoff material. I did not think the Rockets were going to be like this.
Fair. But those two teams have had a healthy roster.
Sure.
We have not, and we're 8th in the standings right now. 8th.
Health. It's difficult because health is one of those things every season that lots and lots and lots and lots of guys get hurt, and then the season goes by and people just kind of forget it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I just feel he should deserve some type of credit because.
Sure.
I mean, it's amazing where we are right now with all of that, with all the injuries that we've had, especially with Luka.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think we shit on him a lot as a fan base, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know how any other coach would have handled what he's had to deal with this season so far, and as you say, manage the egos.
Sure.
My second question is, we have next week is the trade deadline, right?
Yes, and I have been real bad about paying attention to it.
Do you think we'll make a trade?
I think the Mavericks have made a trade 7 years in a row. So judging by past performance, if you want to say past performance is what's the most likely predictor of future behavior, yes. But I don't see what they can do right now that doesn't open up another problem. You move off a guy like Quentin Grimes, for example. The Mr. Green just talked about that. I think they need his bench scoring. I don't want to give up a draft pick right now, even though draft picks really shouldn't matter in the Luka Doncic era. You say that, and then there's Lively, there's the hopes for Omax. It's Jaden Hardy, who drives me crazy, matters to the team. I want draft picks because they surprise you. So I don't really see how, but that's always been my in terms of being a sports talkish person. I've never been good at the trade game. I yelled at my friend Dalton this morning for sending me a trade over the fake thing. And I was like, do something productive with your life, damn it. Because I just am not good at the wish casting.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I think we've made it. I think Nico has made a trade every year since he's been the GM, right?
Yes. Yeah. Every year. And it goes back beyond that too.
But I don't know. I feel like this year is different because we've had a lot of injuries, so it's hard to make that brash decision, right? Because
you don't know, when the Mavericks were 20-10 right before Luka got hurt, what you got.
Yeah.
And now, and it's like you're looking back at that now, kind of like doing the Wolverine meme where we're staring at the picture of the just wish casting for what we had 20 games ago or whatever it is now. And that's the other reason why I'm not super into trades. I was like, I thought the Mavericks were really good.
I agree. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's really hard to decide.
Sure.
I think with the injuries with Maxey, I don't know. Like in terms of trade, what are we even going to give? Right. And what do we really need? I think in retrospect, we do need another big.
Oh yeah.
Because like you said, Lively is, you never know what you're going to get with him in terms of health. And Maxey is out, so what are we going to do in terms of a backup four, right? So I don't know. I mean, if there was any hope, if any trade, if I wanted a trade to be put into the galaxy and exist, I think Chris Bucher from the
I don't know where
Raptors would be a good little backup for us. I think. I don't know.
I like that kind of deep pull. It's like, here's a guy on a bad team who's not doing much. That's a fun way. That's a fun one though.
Yeah, but anyways, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on. We'll talk soon. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a good night.
All right. This has been great. Appreciate it when you guys come through for me here on this show. It's it makes doing this fun. Again, I won't be around Friday. I have something I got to do. Probably be around Sunday night though when we do post game show. So everybody be good. Enjoy the rest of your week. We will talk soon, and go Mavs.